show you one more time with another pull. Another day, another Porsche. This time, we're trying out the 992.2 generation for the first time with a 2026 Porsche 911 Carrera T. Now, a lot of you have probably already seen the videos on the 992.2, the new hybrid tech that is actually spinning up the turbo, minimizing any lag. This Carrera T does not have that. You get that from the Carrera S and up. Here, we're powered by a 3-liter flat six that is twin turbocharged, making 388 horsepower, 331 pound-feet of torque. It's the same engine from the base Carrera as is the norm with the T. Keep in mind though, compared to the 992.1 Carrera T that I also reviewed previously on this channel from the same owner, that one is down on power by about 10 horsepower. 379 is the official rating, but as you know, Porsche tends to underrate these things. And it is mated here to a 6-speed manual transmission, whereas with the 992.1, it was a 7-speed manual, and that is using a mechanical linkage. Now, the 992.2 Carrera T includes PASM Sport as standard, that is 10 millimeters lower than the regular, PTV diff also as standard, that's the Porsche torque vectoring diff, and rear axle steer, and brakes from the Carrera S. Again, all of these standard. The Carrera T also reduces sound insulation. It gives you a sport steering wheel, sport chrono, and optional rear seats. This car is weighing in right around 3,300 pounds. It's almost 70 pounds lighter than a base Carrera. But get this, the starting MSRP is $144,000, and this one as optioned is $164,000. Very lightly optioned. We have Lugano blue with black leather interior and plaid sport tech seats. Porsche corporate saw what was happening in the market and said, well, why are these dealerships getting to charge all these ADMs and the profits are going to them? We should be capturing that additional revenue instead. So they bumped up the 992.2 pricing quite a bit versus the 992.1, and 164K, just keep that in mind. That's a lot of money for a Carrera T. And with the .2, we've gone full digital with the dash. I like the 2.1 where we had still an analog tack and then digital everything else. I think that is going to age a bit better, but of course, very nice screen. The owner still has the protective film, so it's a little bit more reflective than it normally would be, but it's still very nice black levels. I mean, it's a Porsche interior, you know how it is. Very high quality. I do think this little MT right there is a bit weird. It's like, it's clearly a manual transmission. It almost like cheapens it for me to say MT there. That's obvious. Love the wooden shift knob. Reminds me of the Birch knob that is in the Carrera GT in a way, right? Wow, yeah. I mean, Porsche is definitely underrating these cars. 388 horsepower, supposedly only 10 more horsepower than the prior gen, but the owner who had the 992.1 Carrera T as well says to him it feels more like 20 to 30. I can't really comment because it's been like a year since I drove that prior gen. I'm gonna switch this up into Sport Plus, and we're gonna disable auto blip. I love that they just have it as a clear setting here. In some older Porsches, you weren't able to do so as easily, or not even at all, once you went into sport mode. And we got PASM in sport as well as sport exhaust. Very natural throttle response for this turbocharged engine. Normally that's harder for manufacturers to dial in versus a naturally aspirated. And no drama, no issue getting the power down. We got all that weight over the rear axle in the 911. Jeez, this thing is a rocket. It sounds like there's some active noise being piped in, if I'm not mistaken. And I gotta say, for a modern turbocharged engine, it doesn't actually sound all that bad. It's not gonna be as characterful as the prior naturally aspirated flat sixes of years past, but based on what everyone is saying about Porsche Turbo 6s and such, I'm pleasantly surprised. Great canyon etiquette today. Thank you, sir. let's give you a pull. Red line, right around 7,200 RPM. Doesn't quite have that same level of crescendo and build and character as a naturally aspirated Porsche flat six, but again, not bad for modern era. Now, I'm actually kind of intrigued by the inputs here. So, 2026 model year, the ergonomics, as you guys know, in modern Porsches are just phenomenal, second to none. You get the perfect driving position. You're sitting nice and low. You get the pedals where you want them. The shift nice and close to the steering wheel. And the steering wheel is not only beautiful, but it's also positioned perfectly with the right amount of telescope. They really do things right. But what's interesting to me is that the brake pedal here has a bit of travel before it really starts to bite. And a lot of the modern Porsches that I've been driving actually have a much firmer initial bite and feel to the pedal with less travel. And I'm wondering if that's simply because I'm comparing a Carrera T versus, you know, mostly I'm reviewing GT Porsches on the channel. So that might just be a difference in tuning philosophy. Even down at 4,000 RPM, plenty of torque. I love that they included rear steer as standard in the 992.2. In the 992.1, it was optional, but the owner, Zach, actually optioned that for about $2,500 on the 992.1, which I think is necessary because it really helps the car feel more agile and rotate on those lower speed corners where I think it's the most noticeable, and also more high speed stability as well. I mean, you know the story of the 911. The 911, with each successive generation, they dial it in more and more. I would say in recent years, with the 992.1 and now this 992.2, you're getting a little bit less of that connectedness to the car, but it is still nowhere near as numb as some other modern cars. Now, I'm noticing a pattern in myself, which is that I tend to gravitate towards, of course, the GT Porsches, as most of us do. And if it's not a GT Porsche, I think my favorite flavor of the 911 is not a Turbo S, it's not a GTS, it's not even an S, but the T. Because the T, they call it the driver's 911, right? You're optioning the things that improve your driver enjoyment rather than just focusing on outright speed, performance, and comfort. And I think that it makes the car feel a bit more connected in modern era. Is it as connected as a 997 or a 991? No. But when you compare it against contemporary vehicles, it does feel more connected. But it's getting closer to that ideal, that perfection, if you will. The issue is that we don't like cars that are totally perfect, or rather, I should say, they don't move us in the same way that compared to cars that are flawed in very unique ways. And I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised because I thought this car was going to be a big step in the more clinical direction. And I'm actually finding myself enjoying the T's a lot more. Like, this manual transmission is excellent. It has a nice sharp delineation between gates. It's nice and tight. The throws are on the shorter side. There's no ambiguity between gates. The ergonomics, I already told you, are just about perfection. And this has plenty of power. I'll show you one more time with another pull. Man, when you really get on those brakes, that Porsche feel through the pedal when you're hard on them, just phenomenal. But here's the big issue I have with this car. It's just the price. So I don't think it's as clinical and boring as what many other people are saying. I think the way they've dialed in all the inputs, even the PASM, right? I'm driving it in sport right now, but I was testing it in normal as well. You have a notable amount of change between the two modes, and it actually feels very well damped, even on a bumpy road like this. But at $164,000, there are a lot of cars you can consider. I mean, honestly, if it was my money and just based on my priorities, I would honestly save 30 grand and go for a 997.1 GT3. But that's obviously not going to be anywhere near as livable or as modern as a car like this. And again, if you're willing to go used, your options just completely open up. Even if you're not going used, actually, like the Corvette C8 Z06 as an example, can be had for much less than this depending on how you option it. A Lotus Emira is going to be way slower, have nowhere near as good build quality, but it is going to give you so much more feel and theater and connection when you actually drive it. I actually own a 2024 Emira V6 with the sport chassis. So while I respect the Carrera T so much, just because of the modern price, I feel like I would personally go for a used GT Porsche, a 997, or maybe save up a little bit of money and get a 991.2 GT3, which is about $200,000. And then you're still getting that wailing flat six that revs all the way up to 9,000 RPM, a proper GT engine. Both can still be had with an excellent manual transmission. You get even better steering there with better feedback, a better connection to the front end. But of course, you're going to lose out on a bit of livability. So it just depends on what your priorities are. As much as I love this car, it's just that the price feels a bit high for what it is, at least on paper. But who knows, maybe you get behind the wheel and you decide differently. Let me know what you think with a comment down below. Big shout out to the owner, Zach, for letting me review his Carrera T. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in that next one.